I'm Hazel, it's Saturday today, which makes it time to sit down and catch up on the WoW news of the week, what I have been up to, and answer some of your questions. This week, a new blue Dragonflight questline became available, and with it, a special, secret sort of mount. Tarecgosa's Visage is available to players that do the blue Dragonflight questline that had the Tarecgosa's Wrath Cataclysm Legendary Caster Staff on that character. It appears that only the character that has the staff can use the mount at this time, so currently a very exclusive thing, casters only, and then, getting the staff itself it's old content, but it's still not like an instant thing if you didn't have it already. Tarecgosa's Visage is not currently a Dragonriding mount, but hopefully it makes the expanded list when more mounts get Dragonriding later on down the road. And speaking of that, something we touched on at the end of last week, expanded Dragonriding mounts and Dragonriding outside of the Isles is now confirmed by a blue post, but with the big caveat that it is not going to be complete until later in Dragonflight. So while this is something that's been data mined from the 10.1.5 files, it's not an update that's coming in Fractures of Time itself. It's just something that they're working on early. But it is on the way, and if you're a glass half full kind of person, then later in Dragonflight does mean probably before the end of Dragonflight, so that's good. Other things going on this week, the big one is that the Diablo 4 promotion WoW event, there's a string of words, has begun. So the thing they're doing in WoW to help celebrate the launch of Diablo 4 is now started. Basically, treasure goblins spawn every half an hour, generally major cities or in Dragonflight zones. There's a prescribed location for each one, and they can drop buff charms and Diablo-themed cosmetics. I did a video guide that has the breakdown of what everything looks like, as well as some more tips and tricks, but basically it's going on until June the 14th, end of day June 14th, and there's a good selection of brand new as well as returning cosmetics. The thing that I was most excited about was probably the pet, of course. We've got Balial, but also the Town Portal, the Tome of Town Portal cosmetic Hearthstone, which is something that's been in the game for some time, has gotten a visual update, so it looks awesome now. It used to be a generic kind of green casting animation Hearthstone, and now it looks fantastic, so that's kind of cool. The buff charms that you get from the treasure goblins have now been hotfixed so that they no longer work in instances, so there is no need to farm a whole set of them for your key pushing or raid night. They did work for a hot minute, but that's over now. The goblins themselves seem a little bit wonky in that most of the time they work fine, but sometimes they, spam spawn in Veldraken was happening a bit on day one, or there's been reports of goblins where nobody got any loot at all. But the event runs for a while. The goblins are pretty easy to find if you slap the weak aura on your games to tell you where the next one is going to be. And hopefully you have lots of time to get everything that you want. The experience and reputation buff for this event is not part of this part of it. Not currently active, but will follow after the end of this bit. So in the in-game calendar, we can see that the current leg of the event, the treasure goblin spawning part, runs until end of day June 14th. Immediately following that, June 15th until July 11th, we have the Winds of Sanctuary buff that's going to be 50% extra experience and reputation. That reputation will not apply to the Loam Niffin, but good to help level some alts if you felt like playing WoW again after your Diablo adventure. Other things of note for the week, there's a new piece of Twitch Prime loot. It's the epic purple shirt this time. If you have Twitch Prime, make sure that you log in and claim that. And then for what I've been up to in WoW, we have really been progressing through that raid. We killed magmorax, who, if you've heard rumors that heroic magmorax is free, I can tell you that's pretty true. It's quite free. It was weirdly easy. It felt like it should have been like the first or second boss of the raid. It was a bit strange how smoothly that went down, but whatever, I'll take it. Echo of Neltharion only took a handful of pulls as well. That one was trickier, but still not like a wall by any stretch of the imagination. So the only real tough points in Heroic Aberrus that I've found in my own personal experience were Heroic Skarn took some real doing, and then now the third phase of Heroic Sarkorath. Phases 1 and 2 are fine. Phase 3 is a lot. It's just a big mess. There's so many things on the ground and it's so bad to step in them, and there's just a lot going on at once. But after that, the heroic raid is basically over and it's AOTC time. So I'm having fun with the raid, but it is definitely over with faster than I was expecting. And then in real life, I rented the new Dungeons & Dragons movie. I just wanted to mention it because it was so fun. I haven't enjoyed a new movie like that in a long time. It made me reminisce about being a teenager and going to see a movie with a pack of friends. It was awesome. And then I've been doing a little bit of rock fishing. I've been doing some ocean fishing from shore. I'm trying to catch a lingcod, but I think they can tell that I don't really want to catch a lingcod because lingcod are kind of scary looking, but I've caught some rockfish. And I'm working on my filleting skills and practicing my beer batter techniques. I did record a teensy bit of my most recent fishing trip, and I'm going to try to put that together as the next member video for our legendary YouTube members here. If you're not familiar, it's kind of like how creators do Patreon, except it's built into YouTube. And on my $10 tier, I have like a home video that I do every month of stuff like that. And then questions for this week. John Mason wants to know, do you think they would ever let us level in end content zones, like Korthia, Nazjatar, Mechagon, etc.? So it's not totally impossible. Like in Dragonflight, we can level alts via world quests and endgame activities, and that was true in Shadowlands as well through the Threads of Fate leveling. So there is precedent for us leveling characters via endgame activities, albeit at kind of endgame leveling levels. So it's possible. Sometimes I feel, and this could be just a personal me feeling, but sometimes I feel like leveling suffers a bit from too many options of how to level your character, and it can kind of be confusing or stressful for players to try to figure out what is the best or the easiest way for them to level. And I'm not sure if letting people level in Korthia, I don't see anything specifically wrong with it, but I'm also not sure that it's high enough on the list for enough people to do in order to make it happen. I know that from a consumer point of view, having lots of options of how to go about doing things is a good thing. But from an overloaded brain point of view, sometimes the options just make it more stressful. That doesn't mean there shouldn't be options. It's just something that I feel sometimes. Flynman wants to know, how was it for you switching from priest to evoker? Speaking of options, are you having fun or is the range an issue? I too am stuck between both. I'm going to miss PI. So I am having fun. I've been really liking my evoker main for Dragonflight. I would not say that the range bothers me too much, which surprised me. I thought it would. The mobility is awesome. I really like being able to just like hover dash out of the way of things. I think that saves me often. And the toolkit of Preservation Evoker is so cool. It feels like you can really piece it together in a lot of different ways to sort of customize it for each fight, which is very satisfying and fun when you feel like you're on top of it. Sometimes I feel frustrated that I'm just not smart enough to do that really effectively, and that if I was just a little bit smarter, I could have, pieced my stasis together or pieced my echoes together in a better way and saved everybody, but that's more of a me thing. Mostly, I would say I miss not being a Drakthir. I like my Visage form, but I haven't super connected with being a Drakthir, and I could see a world where one day I go back to being a priest just so I can not be a lizard anymore. And because I kind of miss being a gnome. I know I was a human priest for Shadowlands, but I kind of miss the gnome priest thing. I wouldn't do it during Dragonflight. I'm happy with my evoker, and I don't know how I would ever give up evoker mobility, but I miss being cute. Kitty, you'd probably just think I should be a feral druid, huh? I find the highest honor of if she's scratching, like with her foot, and then I scratch that same spot instead, and then if I've done it a good enough job that she doesn't go back in with her foot after, I feel like that's my highest degree of cat motherhood, is if I can really hit the spot properly so she doesn't have to do it. Because sometimes you scratch too hard. I gotta finish the video. And that's been my week. Thank you very much for watching. If you want more tips on the Diablo 4 event, I did a special event specific video. I will link in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.